Joyce. Okay. And welcome to another episode of Facebook Live with us. We're super excited that you're here with us. And now the lovely Lauren is my co-pilot in this mission. And we're so excited. And let's just call it the Dr. Simple, right? Because Lauren is like super rockin' amazing. She's a PhD in exercise psychology. And I just think, well, I may have antlers and my little like Santa boots and my little earrings. She's just super cute. So that being said, we're super excited again to be here with you. And we try to make our set very organized for today, almost like a little news station. Oh, we're so pumped. So today what we're going to do is just kind of talk about the events of the past, and then Lauren's going to update us with some exercises that we can do in the airport, because this is a super big travel season and we want you to not feel so tired all the time. So that's going to be helpful. And you may admire that we are drinking our Christmas cocoa, which is our chocolate mint inflammacor, because no one can ever have too healthy of a gastrointestinal tract. So we're just enjoying that as we talk to you today, and my stomach feels great. So events have passed. We're super excited about this whole year in general and where next year takes us. Tomorrow, which is Thursday, we have our Dirty Santa party, which I'm so super pumped about, because we're just going to talk about everything more in depth than we talk about today, about sexual health, because oh my gosh, it's something we should all honestly talk about. It's so many people have it, and it really isn't dysfunction. It's just something that we could remedy as long as we're open about it. So I think that's good to know. And also don't forget to join us on our Facebook and on Instagram. And Lauren has been updating me about so many cool things that I'm so excited about posts to come. And I think I might go home and work on it all night long, because it is just that fun. So look out for those. So Lauren, would you like to show us those fun exercises of what to do?
Sure. So we've got a couple things to really talk about when it comes to exercises in the holidays, because we know that the holidays brings about a ton of travel. And for some of us, especially those of us who are in Lawrence, we're traveling to Kansas City, and we travel to Kansas City, we're in our cars for almost an hour, then we get to the airport, then we have to wait on the shuttle. Then we have to wait, in the terminal. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's a lot of sitting. Not to mention we get on our flight and maybe you have a layover, and that could be 8 hours, or that could be your whole day. So a lot of folks come in and they talk to us about, well, how do I get active over the holidays? How do I avoid just feeling really bloated and feeling just really sick, like they're having issues with their bowel movements? And I think that Dr. Durland and I would like to suggest would be to stay hydrated. That's the first tip. To drink plenty of water, because it's really easy to go about your day, get caught up in the holiday and travel shuffle, and not drink any water. So I encourage people to bring their own water bottle to the airport. You'll find that a lot of airports now have those refueling stations, so you don't have to worry about spending $5 or $6 on a bottle of water that's only going to last you maybe an hour. So we encourage you to refill your water bottle frequently.
Fill your cup.
Absolutely. And we've also found that it's helpful to bring your own snacks, because it's really easy to kind of get wrapped up in the hustle and bustle and to just consume processed foods that maybe provide like a little spike in our blood sugar, a little boost of energy, but quickly we start to come down and crash from that, and just don't ever really feel satiated. So we encourage folks to pack their own snacks. So pack those whole foods that Dr. Durland has suggested for all of us to eat to help give us that lasting energy. Also, personal experience, try and take those snacks out before you go to TSA, or keep them in a plastic bag, or else they'll search your bag and ask you what they're for.
Pack smart.
Pack smart. So in terms of exercises, you see a lot of folks really sprinting down the terminals, running up and down those airports. A lot of times that's just due to a delayed flight, right? Trying to catch, your next one to get your flight home. And we would encourage folks, if you can, if possible, that if you have time and you're going up escalators, going into different gates, if you could use the stairs, that might be really helpful. If you kind of, don't have your little ones with you and you're able to not use the moving sidewalks and just kind of get some of those extra steps in, that can be really great.
Yeah.
So avoiding the escalator if you can, trying to get those steps in. You could even get a little farmer's carry in if you're able to kind of carry some of those bags up and it's not too hectic and you're not going to miss your flight. Another exercise that we've talked about is the squat. So You see this a lot, yeah. And Sam, you're welcome to demonstrate if you'd like as I talk you through it. Sometimes it helps when someone's doing a demo.
Oh, great. My slippers.
So we know what a great exercise the squat is. We're going to pull this chair over. We're going to try and make kind of a mock gait scenario.
All right.
So again, this is if you're able to do this. You've got, the kids are behaving, everything's going really well, and you're able to have a few minutes, to kind of breathe before you get on that flight. That's the biggest thing, right? If you have time for meditation or just a few minutes to collect your thoughts, not get wrapped up in your phone, this can be really helpful. So we know that when you're on the flight, you're going to be sitting for a while. So why not try to get some good posture in, help to stretch out some of the muscles, help to stretch our glutes, our hamstrings, and to really kind of perfect or to work on that motion of the squat. So the first thing is, see, our bags are at our side. We're going to stand up nice and tall. And when I say stand up nice and tall, I mean our shoulders are back, right? Our chin is up, we're looking forward. Now to get a few of these reps in, again, quality over quantity, one thing you can do is kind of sit back on the chair as if it were a box, and we're going to tap it and come back up. So instead of kind of tapping it and leaping up using our quads, we're going to focus on our posterior chain. So we're going to work on stretching out the hips and the glutes and activating our hamstrings. So when Sam goes to sit back and kind of tap the chair, yep, she's going to go back, right? As opposed to sitting straight down, she's going to go back. She's going to try and sit her bottom between her heels. Yep.
Like this?
Perfect. Yep. And when she drives through, come up through those heels, you can see she's popping her hips a little bit forward.
Switch that
again. Yes, perfecting that movement pattern. She's got those shoulders back, that chest is up, because the first thing that moves up is going to be the head. And you can see she's got rock hard abs, right there. So what you're going to do as you're lowering, you're going to brace those abs a little bit. Now, one cue for this that I read today that was kind of funny is pretend like someone's going to kick a soccer ball at you, and you want to brace your abs.
Okay.
That's a good cue, right? So you're going to, there you go, take in air, have that nice tight abs, sit back and tap our bottom on the chair, and shoot back up. So if you can get a few of those reps in, gets the blood flowing a little bit.
Feels great.
Feels great, gets a nice good stretch. Yeah, and
Yeah.
those glutes, hamstrings, and hips.
And look, you come back with
for the day.
amazing tuchus when you come back.
That's right.
It'll be great. Well, that seems very exciting. Now, the next thing that we're going to talk about today is we're just talking about sexual health, kind of in the midst of our whole week long that we're having our party tomorrow. And so I just am going to kind of touch on some points, and feel free if you have any questions or concerns to, kind of let us know and text in while you're watching. So I'm not going to go into extreme details. I'll do that tomorrow. But tonight I just want to kind of open up the discussion and kind of talk about it openly. And honestly, that is also why I have my Rockin' Awesome elf slippers and my little reindeer ears and these little earrings, because people totally shrink up a lot of times when I talk to them about like sexual health, because they're embarrassed or they're scared or they feel alone. And I can't tell you, I've done this virtually my whole life. And when I was in medical school, the reproductive endocrinologist said, hey, if you don't feel comfortable talking about it, no one's going to feel comfortable talking to you about it. And it was really helpful to me, because it really helped me understand that, yeah, he's totally right. So in talking to people my whole life about this, it's also impressive how when you go to social gatherings, people may talk about it such as it happens all the time, and that everyone's like super happy about the sex that they're having. And you just realize, I'm pretty sure that's not true. I'm pretty sure the party goers and how we're talking about it might not necessarily be reality, simply because I talk to people all day about these things, and what they personally reflect to me is very different than what I hear. So if we could just be honest about it too, that would be another great thing. So let's kind of talk about couples for a moment, because we all have these different love languages, but I think it's important to touch upon that as well, because it can kind of get to one element of why there may be a bit of dysfunction. And dysfunctional just means inequality, I would say, okay, of a drive of one person and another person, because how much sex with each other is normal in a week, I have absolutely no clue. I mean, you could take averages, but I really don't know. And so I think it's relative, and it's also relative how people show affection for each other. Some people may just hold hands. Other people may be physically intimate. That's up to you guys, right? Now, let's get back to the love languages. So let's just start with the assumption that those 5 love languages actually exist. So that would be words of affirmation, time, physical touch, gifts, and words of affirmation, acts of service. Okay, so say, and we all have a love language that we've had since we were little. So I myself am a acts of service for love type of girl. So my significant other may be more physical touch. Okay, so we know life happens, we get more stressed out, maybe you have a couple kids, or maybe you have a ton of dogs, or maybe you have a ton of cats, or whatever, work, who knows why we get stressed out, but it happens. So if I get stressed, then I will search for love, but I will search because that makes me feel better. Love is very regenerative to the body. But if I am deficient on energy, and my love language is acts of service, I love to do stuff for people and it makes me feel better. But if somebody tries to touch me, it will make me mad. Okay? It will make me irritated because my body's not tired. And if somebody comes up and wants to take something from me, my body will push away from that. And that might sound odd, but it happens all the time. Now, if my significant other is a physical touch person, the more stressed that person gets, the more they will reach out for you to touch them. So you can see in a relationship, if I am acts of service or time or words of affirmation and I'm feeling stressed out, then I don't want to be touched. This person over here may totally want to be touched to soothe them, but I don't want to be touched. So then we mistake that we're having some conflict or there's a problem with us that has nothing to do with us. It has everything to do with the stress of the outside world. So if I can just understand the love language of my significant other and embrace that in my day and just learn to do a little bit more of that, then that person feels loved and that person understands mine. I feel loved, and you grow together instead of growing so apart. And I think that's a really common theme for a lot of couples and moving forward, that they just speak different love languages and they're freaking tired because this world is like super crazy. And so if you just step away and you understand and you talk about it, that alone can make a big difference. The other thing is that women are a little complex with what drives our libido. Okay, it's not only like what is going on down in the perineum, it's also a lot what's going on up here. And so, I was reading about the various incidents of sexual dysfunction. I don't even know why I call it dysfunction, but just libido changes, shall we call it, in a woman, and it's 50% over the lifetime. I would say it's much higher than that, and it ebbs and flows throughout life. People are just afraid to talk about it, so that's why I feel like it's underreported, because I can't tell you how much I hear about it, and I'm pretty sure if I did a study, it's much greater than 50%. Now, people may say, if I'm 20 years old, or not, if I'm 25 and I have a low libido and I'm married, well, I have healthy hormone levels. Why is my libido low? Let's take this a step backwards. It makes complete sense, okay? So if your body is stressed out, maybe you're stressed because your job, or maybe you're stressed because of thought, maybe you're stressed because of your health, or who knows what it is, and your body thinks, it's chronically stressful out there, the last thing your body wants you to do is give energy to other people when you're so stressed out you can't take care of yourself. So when we engage in sexual activities, there's always the potential that we may procreate. And so if your body's job is to protect you from the day you're created until the day you die, when it gets on low power mode or starts to think you're chronically stressed, starts conserving energy, and it doesn't want you to give it away. So our libido goes down, not because our hormone levels are off, it's because our perception of stress is up. So a woman over our life also worries about, like, a lot of us worry about how our body looks. Others don't necessarily worry about that. And that's not right or wrong. It's just a different way of being. And, or even thoughts that are in your head that just keep ruminating, that can totally make you not want to have sex too. So I think many more women don't walk around thinking about their genitalia so much. They think more about their minds, their peace, their energy, their desire to share stuff with others. And that's why it gets so complex, because there's so many variables. But honestly, if you help people understand and you talk about it and you reduce the fear level and they actually tell you what they're feeling, it's actually so much easier to fix. Because if you think it's an anatomical thing and you're always doing something to your anatomy and you're not getting better, you always forgot about this big other part of you. Now for men, when you think about erectile dysfunction, 80% of it is biological or vascular, 20% of it is neurological. So neurological just means it's up here. And so when I say it's up here, it doesn't mean that we're crazy or we're not right or normal, whatever that is. It just means that something happened that made us fear something, or we've associated something with something else that may or may not be true. And so every time you go do the act, it triggers that thought, which causes erectile dysfunction to occur. So that you just have to go back and figure out why, correct the why, and it gets better. So it's so easy, actually. And the other thing too, in reading about statistics for men, is they were saying 40% of men over 40 have erectile dysfunction, and 70% of men over 70 have erectile dysfunction. But whenever I talk to patients about it, it's always interesting that some people get just super, not defensive about it, but they just feel, I could tell that they feel embarrassed with talking to me about it. And there is nothing to be embarrassed about. There's nothing bad about it. Your body is amazing. It wants to regenerate itself. This is part of your body. So there's nothing bad. And being intimate with your significant other is a way for you to like energize yourself, relieve stress, and just feel unified. So there's nothing bad about that either. So let's just start talking about it. The other, like, I'll use a couple of other examples of extremes that people go to not to talk to me about it at times. Like one time I had a patient come in and he left the appointment and drove around for 45 minutes before he came back and just wanted to ask me another question. I had another patient call me on a Friday evening like, I just did it. After about 5 minutes, he totally shared what it was. And I just thought to myself, oh my gosh, the stress that goes into that, just don't do that to yourself. Just talk about it. There's so many things that we can do. So I guess today really what I wanted to do is just talk about how love languages and our relationships can totally change our libido. Our stress totally changes our libido. Definitely, potentially more, I think more women have love languages of acts of service or others than physical touch, although some women are physical touch. And because of that, so many more women, when they get stressed out, their libido goes down for that reason. But also the other thing you have to think about is, as a woman's ovaries leave her, one of the hormones that helps us with drive and recovery for stress leaves us. So simply menopause reduces your libido. There's nothing wrong with your labia. There's nothing wrong with your vagina. It's just a hormone thing. So you totally can fix that. You don't need like 5,000 tests to show an EMG of what your neurological sensation of your perineum is. It's just like a normal thing that happens that you can fix. And then for men, there's so many different things. I mean, it's kind of fun actually how on the TV now you can call in and get your medicine to your door by talking to somebody on the phone. It kind of reminds me how when I'm driving down the car, if my kids in the back seat when they were younger would ask me deep questions that I may have not been prepared for simply because they couldn't see my face. So just know, you see my face, I've got like rainbow ears and like elephants. So you certainly can talk about this with us because there's nothing to feel bad about. It's just part of your body and there's things that we can do about it. So that today is what I think I would like to talk about in general about sexual health. But just know tomorrow night what I'm going to talk about is a lot of the procedures, anatomy, female anatomy, male anatomy, and that, you know, I love is super fun because I'm super nerdy like that. Yes, were you going to say something?
I was going to say, you had mentioned texting in or sending us a note if we needed to.
Oh, yes. The other thing too, around this holiday season, is holiday season can be really hard. And after I do this, I'm going to read this little book too, because that's my ending note before Christmas time. So to know that thoughts that you hold on to can make you tired and more stressed. But if you literally get it away from you, it feels better. So Lauren and I were thinking how nice it would be that, you know, and some people when they write things on paper, they're nervous that someone's going to see what they wrote, so they won't write it down either out of fear. Well, you have no fear from these two girls. We're just here to help the world be a better place. So feel free to drop a letter, feel free to drop us an email, feel free to text in and just say, that made me so mad and that's not fair. Well, you know, when you hit the send button, it gets away from you and you will feel better. And you will feel better knowing it's coming to folks that just care for you and we just want to help you set it free. So feel free to do those things today, tomorrow, or whatever happens. So the next thing is, and maybe the last thing we are going to do today, is I have some really great friends that have been married for a super long time, and they gave me this rockin' awesome book. And I thought, in the spirit of the holiday, we shall read it. In the reindeer earrings and the reindeer ears and my Santa slippers. Okay, here we go. That kind of feels fun. I wish we had a fireplace. Okay, Once upon a Christmas time, long ago, a man who had a big heart but little money dreamt he could give his friends endless riches. When he awoke, the dream kept running through his mind over and over. Finally, he asked himself, if I could give my friends anything, what would I give? He smiled as he began to think of all the wondrous things he could buy for them. But then he thought, I'm a happy man, yet I have none of those things. And he began to think that perhaps real wealth could not be measured in riches. Perhaps there were gifts of greater value than things money could buy. In the still of the night, he pondered these things and thought of Christmas and what it meant to him. Taking out his quill, he began to write on parchment scroll. On the first day of Christmas, I pray for you joy in abundance and laughter, for laughter cures our ills, and joy makes our spirits soar. On the second day of Christmas, I pray for you a sigh when you need me, for a sigh clears the heart and a cough clears the throat. And with a sigh comes acceptance of what we cannot change. On the third day of Christmas, I pray for you tears when you need them, for tears clear the eyes to see with the stars and cleanse the soul to let healing begin. On the fourth day of Christmas, I pray for you serenity, for fights and wars start in individual breasts, and that is where they must end. On the fifth day of Christmas, I pray for you wisdom, for our priceless gift is the gift of choice, and we should use it well every day in word and deed. On the sixth day of Christmas, I pray for you patience, for most troubles pass if we wait them out, and success comes with persistence. And on the seventh day of Christmas, I pray for you courage, for there may be many pitfalls and dangers ahead, and problems can only be solved when they are faced. On the eighth day of Christmas, I pray for you compassion, for we cannot help others until we understand them, and we cannot understand them until we walk in their shoes. On the ninth day of Christmas, I pray for you a willingness to work, for work turns dreams into reality, whether the dreams are ours or belong to those we can help. On the 10th day of Christmas, I pray for you unawakening faith, for faith shapes our morals and our destiny and draws us closer. On the 11th day of Christmas, I pray for you a mind full of hope, for hope determines our attitudes, sets our goals, and creates our ideals. On the 12th day of Christmas, I pray for you a heart so full of love that every day you must give some away to those whose paths you cross. And with each prayer, the man realized he was not giving a gift at all, but hoping that his friends would find the gifts they already had within them. Each time he wrote the prayer, a marvelous thing happened. It seemed to him that the prayer, although offered for his friends, remained in his heart and produced in him the very thing he prayed for them. The man copied his scroll and sent the Christmas prayer to his special friends, and that is where the legend of the Christmas prayer is lost in the mists of time. The man was never heard of again, but over the years, the Christmas prayer began to appear all over the world. People in obscure villages and big cities would receive at Christmas time a copy of the scroll from a friend. And so the wonder multiplied until the story finally has reached you. May you too feel the warmth and enjoy the riches of the Christmas prayer. The end. Yes. All right, Lauren, what do you have as I drink my Christmas cocoa?
I just want to say that was a great story. I really like that.
Thank you.
You know, I had a couple of thoughts as we wrap up. We normally take questions if we have any. Debbie will let us know if she has any that have come across. But you know, we get wrapped up. I think the holidays can be a time when we start to feel stress and this pressure to fit in this certain mold and fill in this certain role. And it can also be a time of sadness because think of loved ones we may have lost. And I think a big thing for us to emphasize to all patients, you know, we try to give as much support as we can, whether it's, you know, some suggestions, whether you're feeling bored in the airport and you're not feeling too stressed. And I guess we don't want to come off as anybody should feel any kind of guilt or shame if they're not doing any of these things. Because sometimes the diet culture and the health culture that we're kind of in the midst of can really infiltrate some of our thoughts, and it's easy to let some of those, you know, thoughts ruminate that are if I don't do this, then I'm not good, inherently healthy, or things like that. And I think the biggest thing is just that we want everyone to enjoy this holiday and to be present. And if you're with your family or if you're at work, is to try to enjoy that, and think and be present in that moment. And that we're here for you. We're here for you for any of your health concerns. We have a bunch of folks that we've got on our email list that just get messages on Mondays and Wednesdays when we send out, Monday motivation and Wednesday wisdom, and that we're thinking of all of you. So if you needed that extra support this holiday season or for the rest of the year, truly just reach out to us and let us know. We're happy to add you to that list. And just encourage you to get as involved as possible with some of the events that we might have going on. We're happy to include you, because sometimes you just need a community. Sometimes it feels like you're completely alone and that nobody understands what you're going through or the health struggles that you have. So we just ask that you reach out to us, and that we're here to help you in any way that we can, including some of those New Year's resolutions. That's going to be a big thing, I think, as we see patients coming in January. And that's something we've really kind of added and want to beef up to folks, is that a lot of times we have these great ambitions, and sometimes we set these really lofty goals, and sometimes we meet them and sometimes we don't. So if you need help with that support, we've got programs in place for that, and communication and online support and virtual visits. So please let us know that if you need anything, we're here for you.
We just try to make it so simple and easy that there's literally, I think we can do so much now. It's amazing. And we're just trying to help the world be a better place. So we just hope you have a great day, and thank you for tuning in with us. And then, after Christmas, we can focus on that new year and all that it brings.